There's a specific feeling you get when you see a new game with a familiar name, only to find out its soul has been completely stripped in order to make way for yet another corporate checklist. You see the clips and gameplay all over the place, and it sparks your interest, but when you finally decide to play it, you realize something is fundamentally wrong. On the outside, it may look intriguing, it may look familiar, but on the inside, it's just another artificial cash grab. The spirit of Delta Force, the reason to be excited in the first place, is gone, and a lot of people would say it wasn't even there in the first place. Delta Force isn't just a failed reboot. It's a case study in how to completely miss the point of what makes first-person shooters compelling. From the franchise's jarring pivot in gameplay to a foundation built on a shady live service model, this game has kicked up a firestorm, leaving players feeling completely ignored. I'm not even complaining about bugs here. I'm diving deep into the critical failures, from alleged botted players and view counts and predatory matchmaking, to the insanely unbalanced operators and weapons that turned a once great franchise into an absolute dumpster fire. I won't disregard the impression Delta Force has left on console and mobile players. According to players on console, Delta Force has one of the best extraction modes available to them, and it's overall one of the best FPS games on the mobile market. But on the PC version specifically, it's a catastrophe, and to understand why, you have to look at its core design. The original series was known for a specific style of gameplay. The current game and the old ones both share massive open maps that can give you the freedom to get the job done your way. But that's where the similarities end. The old games were incredibly unforgiving. It was about patience, positioning, and planning. The lethality was brutal, and every gunfight was terrifying. The current Delta Force game is split into two game modes, Operations and Warfare. Operations is your run-of-the-mill extraction shooter, where you drop in, loot, and extract before anybody has the chance to take you out and take your loot for their own. And the Warfare game mode is a pretty basic 32v32 game mode. Both modes can be fun in short bursts, but by now, most people have noticed that with all the things this game brings, nothing really feels innovative. The game ends up feeling like some combination of Call of Duty, Battlefield, and every extraction shooter put together. The result is a game with no identity of its own, where the meta is dictated by whichever operator or weapon is the most overpowered. And there's plenty of examples. There's still a huge chunk of support players that use the medic abilities for themselves, only to be found begging to be revived later down the line. Overall, basic movement mechanics are slow and clunky, while advanced mechanics like slides, dashes, and rolls are restricted to 3 of the 11 total operators currently in the game. And short-range weapons like the SMG-45, the QCQ, and the Magnum can still take you out in the blink of an eye at 100 meters. Things like this create a jarring imbalance from the start. When you also consider that the weapons in the game are locked to certain classes, this forces players to either abuse this imbalance or get punished. Perhaps nothing signals a troubled identity more than the switch to a free-to-play live service model. The devs have made it loud and clear that nothing they release will be pay to win. While this is one of the few promises they've kept, it doesn't fix the core issues that a live service model brings. The entire design philosophy shifts from making a complete game to building a platform for never-ending monetization. For example, exclusive operator skins like the Sabrosa or Inky Reflection skin could cost upwards of $150. And in the in-game marketplace, the rarest Mandelbrick skins can cost upwards of $1,000. And the Mando bricks themselves cost over twice as much as they do on the Garena version of Delta Force, costing around 48 to 60 coins, while the Mando bricks in the global version have a cost between 70 to 200 coins. Over time, this has led to distrust in the community. While Delta Force manages to break its all-time peak player count every other week, there are a select few that suspect these player counts are fake. Personally, my suspicions grew when every other FPS game saw a drop in player and view counts while the Battlefield 6 beta was live, except for Delta Force. Somehow, the player count on Delta Force was more or less the same, hitting the same 180,000 to 190,000 24-hour peak player count across both weekends. After past suspicions of the devs botting their YouTube views and Steam reviews to create a false sense of popularity, the mixed reviews on Steam tell a truer story. While the anti-cheat team manages to ban around 10,000 cheaters every month, there's still endless reviews pouring in talking about how bad the cheaters have gotten. Not to mention the devs' lack of communication and transparency, as well as the game's shady and predatory matchmaking systems that feel designed to create frustration. And players fear that the devs are eventually going to cross the line and make the game pay to win. Oddly enough, the matchmaking in the Garena version of Delta Force prioritizes ping above all else, while the global version uses skill-based matchmaking. A lot of people are suspecting that the global version actually uses engagement-optimized matchmaking, which is often designed to create frustrating matches to manipulate player behavior to make them end up spending even more money on the game, fueling the fear that the entire experience is engineered to push people towards spending money. When a game feels like it's being designed around a virtual storefront instead of a core experience, it kills trust from the start. Even if you can't get past the game's identity crisis or its predatory structure, you're left with a game that's fighting itself. On one hand, you have the chaotic multiplayer, and on the other hand, you have the campaign. It is included free with the game, but the execution has been torn apart, launching with mostly negative reviews on Steam, with players calling out poor performance, bugs, glitches, and also mentioning that the campaign is an unpleasant experience overall. This conflict is clearest in the non-existent game balance. The entire experience is warped around a handful of operators who can single-handedly invalidate entire playstyles. Aggressive pushes, flanks, or tactical plays mean absolutely nothing when Luna can shoot a detection arrow over your head and completely reveal your location to the whole enemy team, while her bolt arrows will reveal you and do damage over time with its massive damage radius. Strategic choke points are rendered useless by Shepard's suppression drone and sonic mines, which will delete half your health while distorting your vision, slowing your movement, and your fire rate. Gunfights are less about who has more skill and more about who has their game-breaking abilities at the ready. This is contrasted terribly by the game's overly complicated gunsmith system, where many weapons end up feeling like laser beams with minimal recoil at long range, made even worse by the unnecessary weapon tuning mechanic in the gunsmith. To make matters even worse, the majority of anti-vehicle tools are nearly useless. Explosives like D-Wolf's triple blaster deal minimal damage to vehicles, and even less damage to enemies, and the engineer's rocket launchers pinch away at enemy vehicles' health. When you include the countless vehicle resupplies in each map and the self-repair feature, this makes vehicles an oppressive force in every match. This operator and vehicle imbalance completely breaks class-based teamwork. There's no incentive to properly play the role each class is designed for. Because vehicles are so overpowered, engineers barely take the time or effort to actually take them out. Medics only look out for themselves, abusing their healing abilities for their needs while leaving their teammates in the dust. And recon players are often found sitting in the back of the map, placing their respawn beacons in useless places that do nothing for the team's advance. But where does that leave us? Delta Force looks like a success, with player counts that seem impressive until you take a closer look. But fake players and $1,000 weapon skins don't make a game good. This game is a disaster, not because of any bugs or glitches, but because this game represents the worst, most predatory trends in modern gaming. It's a classic IP that's been hollowed out and slapped onto a generic trend-chasing gacha game, designed to take players' money instead of being a memorable game. Teamy Group, a subsidiary of Tencent, took the name but left the spirit behind. They replaced tactical depth with a chaotic meta of unbalanced hero abilities, punishing realism with a frustrating and unbalanced grind. This game is a reminder that some things are better left alone if the only reason to bring him back is to cash out on the name. This isn't the game that players were waiting for. This is just another Ghost. But after all, this is just what I see. What do you think? Is this reboot a slap in the face to a classic franchise, or are you enjoying what this game has brought to the table? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're curious, I'll have some sources linked in the description below that'll go a bit more in depth with some of the topics I've mentioned. If you enjoyed the video, or if this video helped you out in some way, then hit that like and subscribe button to keep on all things Delta Force, and eventually Battlefield 6.